What's good, everybody? Welcome in to Early as Live. We do it every single Sunday at noon Eastern time during the NFL season. I, of course, am the coach. This is your daily and weekly sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all of sports betting, and it's not even close. Now, first and foremost, thank you to all of you who took the time an hour ago to hang out with us in Twitter Spaces, a brand new platform. Me and Prop Stars were there for about 45 or 50 minutes. An amazing amount of people, and it's an amazing platform that we're going to utilize a lot. But we got a lot to get into. It's week 17, first time in the history of the NFL that we have 18 weeks. So, sides, totals, props, we got it all. We're going to break down every single game right here as quickly as we can. Let's bring in the stars of the show. And live from Nashville, Tennessee. And he is in the janitor's closet this morning, but he is locked and loaded. AB, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Prop Stars. Yeah, you're exactly right. Locked it from the outside, so we can't even get out if we wanted to. We're just firing out props left and right today. Yeah.
Oh, we absolutely have so many best bets right. Alex, I got to tell you, and I know we're boys. I know we work together. I know we're tight. But if I separate myself from that and I just listen to you on Twitter Spaces, I say it all the time. I joke a lot of the time. There are levels to this game. But you set the bar. It's unbelievable how much you know in the props market. So I just give you all the respect in the world. Good afternoon.
Hey, Coach. I appreciate that greatly. I had a blast. That was so much fun. Can't wait to do that again with you. AB, it is great to see you. I am super excited about week 17.
Week 17 and so much uncertainty, so much COVID. Who's in? Who's out? That's why you have us right here. So let's get into it. And we're going to, instead of give out our best bets at the top, when we get into a game, if we have a play in that game, we'll go ahead and tell you that way so we make sure and get to every single game on the board. We're going to start with the game of the day, boys. We're going to start with the game of the day. We're talking Chiefs on the road. A little surprising, AB, that we're talking -3.5. The total's at 51. Your thoughts here?
Well, I'll say this. It's impossible for me to not bet the Chiefs. Like, I know that this sounds kind of just old school and formulaic, but you ride the team until they tell you not to do it. And they haven't even come close to telling you not to do it. Now, I know that the Bengals and Joe Burrow had ultra success against the Ravens and that secondary, but look what they did previously in that game against the Ravens. Like, there's a reason for that. I'm not saying that the Bengals don't have success today, but it's not going to be what we saw. They play fantastic against the Baltimore Ravens, just a perfect setup. I'm going to ride with the Chiefs here. I know that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out in this game, but quite frankly, the Chiefs running game, not too terribly concerned with it. I think the Chiefs, again, this is going to be a game where their defense dictates how this game goes. So give me the Chiefs here.
All right, very good. By the way, Alex, somebody in the chat, and I can't find it now, just said, is anybody else exhausted from these streams already? I'm sorry. Were you doing them at home? I'm sorry. Were you getting up at 5 a.m.? But I'll take it down a notch. Alex, we appreciate everybody, even those that are getting tired of us, but yet they're still coming to the show. Now, we don't have any official props in this game, but a lot of people on Twitter Spaces were very interested in the triumvirate that is that dynamic Bengals wide receiver core. Talk to me from that angle.
Yeah, so there's a lot to like. Obviously, Cincinnati's offense, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, even Tyler Boyd looked exceptional last week, and that was against a Ravens defense that was completely depleted. We saw a historic day. So, yeah, there's a lot to like. However, I would caution this Chiefs defense is playing well. AB talked about it. The big reason why they're on this big winning streak has been the defense. That has been the biggest improvement from that side of the ball. So, yeah, as far as Cincinnati skill position players are concerned, I do like T. Higgins quite a bit. If we're looking at the receivers there, I do feel that he offers a higher floor than Jamar Chase. That is largely because of Jamar Chase. A-dot is a lot deeper than T. Higgins. We've also seen in the second half of the season, Joe Burrow has favored T. Higgins a lot more. He seems to be his security blanket. He's also running routes down the field and being heavily targeted, which is the recipe that you look for spike weeks and for a lot of production. So, yeah, if I'm having to choose one of these guys, it's definitely T. Higgins.
All right, very, very good. By the way, if you'd have told me 5 years ago that I'd be talking to somebody, they'd say that T. Higgins' A-dot is deeper than – I would have said, what the hell are you talking about? But, man, that's where we are. By the way, only one official play in this game from the brand, and it's the Maestro. He's on the Chiefs -3.5. That hook is very difficult to me. You got something, AB?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick. Exactly what Prop Stars was saying. If you're looking for plays in this game, yes, he's correct. The Chiefs team is fantastic. But the one thing that they cannot do is wrapping up opposing wide receivers after they catch the ball. The Chiefs allow 5.8 yards after the catch, fourth most in the NFL. The Bengals, they average 6.1 yards after the catch. Offensively, fourth most in the NFL as well. So you might look at receiving yards props. They could bust a few long ones today.
And that's why I'm getting ready to shock the world, AB. Our very first game of our very first Early Edge Live show in 2022, I'm dropping an official play right here, right now. I didn't even tell the jeweler about this. I'm going to go over 51 in the Chiefs and the Bengals. I believe that because of their dynamic triumvirate, that the Chiefs can't guard everybody. And that's going to mean the Bengals can score. That means the Chiefs are going to have to score. And by the way, AB, can you let the audience at home know who was the only perfect football handicapper at the Early Edge in 2021? Go ahead and say it.
That would be your wonderful host, Jonathan Coachman.
I'm sorry. I was looking at my note. What did you say? Who was the only perfect capper?
I believe his name is Jonathan Coachman.
You're damn right. I was perfect last year, and I'm putting that perfect record on the line today. First time out of the gate at it. Over 51, moving on to game number 2. And if I get that validation from Prop Stars, I'm all good. By the way, listen to Kelsey in the chat. It was great to have her on Twitter Spaces today. Pound that like button for me. It's so important. Get that like button. Increase the value and the algorithm, which you don't care about at home, but we do. All right, game number 2. Alex, I'm coming to you. And this is a very, very important game on the board. Dolphins and the Titans. All right, Titans -3. Total 41. Here's where we stand as a show. The Maestro's on the Titans -3.5. Gave it out earlier today on the morning show. And then Uncle Dave is on A.J. Brown over 69.5 receiving yards, and I love that prop. AB, you got one here. What do you got?
Yeah, we're going Ryan Tannehill. Excuse me, gosh. We're going Ryan Tannehill over half an interception at +100 today. Look, Miami's defense, they run that cover 0 man press about 52% of the time. They are aggressive with their secondary, and they also lead the NFL at blitzing totals and quarterback pressure percentage. And if anybody watched that Music City Bowl on Thursday between Tennessee and Purdue, that field, it was wet. I'll just go ahead and tell you, the weather in Nashville has gotten worse since then. It's rained for about the last 24 hours. It's going to be kind of a sloppy, ugly game today. And I'll give you a nugget on this one because even though Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays, we are never closed since week 9, okay? The Titans have turned the ball over 14 times since week 9. Miami has forced 14 turnovers, all right, 10 of which have been interceptions. Tannehill will put one up in the air today. Give me Tannehill over half an interception +100.
I love that a lot. But based off the weather, that's very important to the show. Alex, does that give you any pause with anything you may like in this game? Especially, I'd love your reaction to Dave's A.J. Brown play.
Yeah, I think A.J. Brown is an interesting play. I do expect him to be heavily involved. I am cautious, though, of this matchup. This Miami defense is legit. A.B. talked about it quite a bit, which is why he likes that interception prop, which I like too. Xavier Howard, Javon Holland. These are elite defensive backs, elite playmakers. So, yeah, I do like A.J. Brown. I do expect him to be heavily involved. Large workload, but I am a little bit afraid of the matchup. So for me, I'm staying away from most props in this game. Didn't see anything I loved personally. I did like Dante Foreman's under. However, that has since corrected. That was one of the first props that actually came out on the week. But yeah, it is since dropped, I think, close to 10 yards where it is no longer playable. But yeah, not a lot of props from this game that I am looking to back.
If you listen to us on Twitter Spaces, Alex very eloquently laid out why props are very, very difficult this week and now for the first time ever in an 18th week. So you got to listen to my guys. AB, let me come back to you. In the chat, a question on Tua. Under 1.5 passing touchdowns, I do not have the juice, but I would lean towards the under. Their offense just isn't very good.
Yeah, here's the hard part. Tennessee, the last 8 or 9 weeks or so, they have the best running defense in the NFL, and it's not even close. Miami is not going to have success running the football today. It's going to have to be in the air, and especially in the red zone. Tennessee's defense is legit down there. So I would actually, if you're going to play anything, I would actually play over the 1.5 in terms of touchdowns. I would also look, just because of that, they're just not going to be able to run the ball. I would also look at Tua completions instead of yards. And on Tennessee's side, I would look more yardage than I would completions. But as for the touchdowns, if I was playing anything, I would play the over just because they will not run the football.
Very good. By the way, Oscar in the chat just wrote something that I never thought I would hear myself say. AB's Nuggets are better than McDonald's.
Absolutely.
And that's our award-winning show in a nutshell. Oh, my God. All right, let's move on. As I told you on Twitter Spaces, if we're in a game and you have a prop, put it in there. I can't guarantee you that we'll get to it, but I will try my damnedest to get Prop Stars or AB to answer it for you. Okay, looking at the chat now. Thank you. All right, next game. Very, very important, too. A lot of playoff implications. And, guys, when you look at the playoffs today, it's the first time I think I saw Diana Rossini on ESPN this morning, and it's either 10 or 20 years that this late in the season, only one playoff spot has been spoken for in the AFC. So all of these games matter. Raiders, Colts, they're laying 8. We have them in a couple of teasers as a show. But let me come to you, Alex, because you have an official play in this game. What do you got?
Yeah, I do. That is Hunter Renfrow, over 55.5 receiving yards. He is averaging 85 receiving yards over the last 5 games. The reason that 5-game sample is significant is because Darren Waller has not played in those games. Without Waller on the field, Renfrow is the de facto number 1 receiving option. He's also averaging 64 receiving yards per game on the season. I talked a lot about this morning and in Twitter Spaces about all of these various incentives and records that people or players are very close to achieving. Hunter Renfrow is one of those guys. He is 51 yards shy of his first 1,000-yard season. He's also 16 receptions away from the Raiders' single-season reception record that Darren Waller actually set last season, I believe, as well. I'm expecting Renfrow to have a very high-volume day. He has a 1.99 yards per route run. He's being targeted on 23% of his routes. Those are both excellent numbers. He's actually got a very shallow 6.5 average depth of target. That's significant in this matchup, in my opinion. The Colts play more zone defense than any defense in the NFL. They are very susceptible to allowing a lot of things underneath and close to the line of scrimmage. I also like the fact that the Raiders are underdogs. I believe they're going to be forced to air the ball out quite a bit. This Colts defense is also very stout versus the run. They rank 9th in EPA allowed per rush, 4th in run defense grade, 3rd in rushing DVOA. So I believe they're going to shut down the Raiders' rushing game, make them one-dimensional. Carr is going to target our guy Renfrow a bunch. I have him projected for 81 receiving yards, which is a significant edge when we're looking at a 55.5 receiving prop. I'd play this one up to 59.5 yards, even 60.5. I think it's okay. So, absolutely love Hunter Renfrow today, Coach.
And about 10 of you in the chat asked that question. He's always going to answer what would he play it up to or play it down to. He's a pro. Speaking of a pro, Carson Wentz has been a pro quarterback this year. He's played very good. Luckily for the Colts, AB, he's off the virus list, will play today. His touchdown prop is over 1.5. It's plus money. Do we like it?
Okay, so let's talk about game script in this one really quickly. If you watch the Alabama and Cincinnati game, Indianapolis is going to do exactly the same thing that Alabama and Nick Saban did. They're not going to be afraid to play field position because they know that against that defense, the Vegas is not going to have successful drive after successful drive. So you're going to see a ton of running the football. You're going to see a ton of Vegas backed up. I don't hate this play. To be completely honest with you, if I was going to play anything Carson Wentz, it would be this and only this. Other than that, it's going to be running the football. And remember, the Colts defense, their defense averages 3 and outs on 37% of the opposing drives. It's unreal, right? So if I were going to play anything Carson Wentz, it would be this. Other than that, it's all Jonathan Taylor in this game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. By the way, Alex, apparently in the chat, they're saying that they can't find any Hines props currently. Do we know a reason for that?
We don't know a reason for that. Typically, or I guess sometimes with ancillary or secondary players, because of Wentz's status kind of being uncertain down to pretty much the wire, Jonathan Taylor was the only Colts prop that was out all week. Even previous to when we went on air, if you looked at props in this game, you only had Jonathan Taylor. So, yeah, I think with Wentz's status being up in the air, they have not released any additional Colts player props.
All right, the Jonathan Taylor in the chat, 106.5. Now, we talked about week after week, high, but he seems to continue to go over it.
Yeah, it is really, really hard to, I mean, this is to me a very large number. I tend to stay away from numbers when we're talking triple digits, just because there's a lot of ways that this can go under. But this is one of those spots where I am not even close or remotely close to considering the under here. It is over or nothing. I am staying away. However, it is a very large number, but I don't think AB or you, Coach, would be remotely shocked. He finishes with 22 carries for $150 and 2 touchdowns, which probably is the most likely range of outcomes looking at all the possibilities today.
I am so tired, and I haven't done it a lot, but I did it a couple times, of betting against Kupp when his number gets really high and Jonathan Taylor when his number gets I'm done doing it. I'm done doing it. And then kicking myself around 3:45 when the announcers say, Jonathan Taylor, another monster game for the Colts. He's minus. No, he's not minus anything. He's always 165. All right, moving on. We got a lot of games still to get to. I love this show, this hour so much. I'm pumped today if you couldn't tell. So we're going to go Eagles minus the 6 at Washington, total 44.5. Now, I will come to prop stars in a second. So we have 2 official best bets from our prop show in this game. But AB, let's talk sides and totals first. The Eagles, after they got started, dominated against the Jets, or against the Giants, excuse me. And now they got a Washington team that laid an absolute egg against the Dallas Cowboys. Laying 6 on the road is a lot in the division. But for the Eagles, is it too much?
It's not too much. I don't love it. I love the total more, playing the over than I would. These are 2 teams. I would actually play the first half under and the second half over. Like, these are 2 teams that will put points up. Yeah, They'll put points up the second half. The Eagles legitimately, like, they kind of get better throughout the game. Now, I will say this. Jalen Hurts back in week 15 against Washington had one of his better games of the year, 77% completion percentage, 14.8 yards per completion. He was fantastic. So I would say I don't mind the spread. Total looks a lot better to me.
All right. Real quick, Alex, before we hit on this game, there is a chat question. Justin, Zay Jones in that Raiders game, over 40.5 receiving yards, minus 110.
Yeah, I don't mind it. We've seen Zay Jones kind of function as the second option in the Raiders' passing attack. He's been heavily targeted. However, I do really prefer Renfrow in this game. Zay Jones has a deeper A dot as well. So, yeah, I do expect the Colts to do a better job covering him than Renfrow. So, yeah, I'm looking more towards Renfrow as far as Raiders pass catchers are concerned.
Okay, very good. Back to this game in Washington. Uncle Dave from our prop show, if you listened this morning, thank you very much. He's on Taylor Heineke, over a half an interception, minus 135. Now, remember last week against Dallas, Taylor Heineke, the announcers talked about how he was getting so out of breath just carrying his laundry across the living room floor. COVID reacts differently in different people's bodies. And we're not talking about that when players are coming back from being positive on COVID. So we'll take Taylor Heineke, still not to be 100%, and lay the juice at minus 135. But Alex, you have a play in this game. What is it?
Yeah, I do indeed. And that is going to be Boston Scott under 45.5 rushing yards. So real quickly, Jordan Howard is going to be active today for the Eagles. I'm anticipating Howard receiving the bulk of the workload in the Eagles backfield. We also have Jalen Hurts, who also rushes the ball a lot. I expect Boston Scott to be the odd man out as far as the backfield is concerned. Kenny Gainwell is going to mix in there a little bit as as well. So yeah, with those guys active, I'm fading Scott. I also think the Washington team, they are okay versus the run. They rank 15th in rushing DVOA. They are way worse defending the pass as well. I just don't think the workload is going to be there for Scott. I do think he's going to kind of play more on third downs and get a lot of the receiving work. So yeah, 45 is a very large number for him. It's going to take him 10 to 12 carries, which I do not think he's going to receive. So yeah, I am fading Boston Scott. Real quickly, as far as the Heineke interception is concerned, I just want to caution people a touch, because there have been reports this week that Washington is actually considering rotating quarterback Kyle Allen in this game. That was a report that came out this week. So yeah, I do think it is a good spot. Heineke has been playing poorly, but there is a chance that Heineke gets benched. It might be as a result of an interception. So I do understand the logic, but I just want to caution that we might see Kyle Allen play quite a bit, and you are looking for as much volume as possible when it comes to interception props.
Boom. 2 for 1. That is Alex, the prop stars. Quick fantasy question. We normally don't do a lot of fantasy here, but we'll answer a couple. AB, this is championship week for a lot, if not all, fantasy football leagues. And this guy has Terry McLaurin. And he's like, should I play him or start Lockett instead? It's the championship final. Help him out.
Yeah, I would probably play Lockett against that Detroit secondary. Look, if you look at McLaurin the last 3 games, you know how many receptions he's averaging per game? 1.6. That's it. It's been horrible. And the reason being is because they just guard him. They know. They're like, if we stop Terry McLaurin, good luck, right? So, and especially if they're platooning quarterbacks today, I'm not saying McLaurin might not have a big game because he's good enough to do it, but if you're just playing the numbers and the probability, Tyler Lockett probably makes you more, money way over McLaurin would.
Alex.
Yeah, I 100% agree with AB. And just to touch on it too, if you're ever in this position and you want to kind of look at what the odds makers would choose, reference their receiving yard prop line, actually, because you will see who's expected to have a bigger day. And it is Lockett. Lockett's reception yards are, I think, right around 60, where McLaurin is 50. So odds makers are anticipating Lockett having the bigger game. I agree with everything AB said. He offers a lot more upside as well and a softer matchup. So yeah, it's definitely Lockett.
That's an interesting way to look at it. It really, really is. And Eric in the chat, you've got your question there. Go and look at those numbers like Alex just said, and then make that decision for yourself. That's a very, very fascinating way to look at which player you should play in your championship final. All right, we got to move on because we got a lot of games to get to. If you are brand new to this show as we approach the bottom of the hour, first of all, thanks for finding us. And here at noon, we go through every single game, all the props, where the show is playing, where we put all of our bets. This next game, we're not invested at all. And it's for a very good reason. Rams are laying 6.5 on the road against the Ravens. Now, normally you say, the Ravens have been good. Not if you really watch. And their quarterbacks have been a mess. We have no idea from week to week who is playing. Lamar Jackson not starting today. That ankle is bad. The total 46.5. Alex, you're shaking your head. Talk to me.
Yeah, Coach, there is one thing I did want to bring up when it comes to this game. I've been waiting, and unfortunately they haven't been released, or I think only the reception prop was released for Mark Andrews props. I just want to touch on what this guy is very close to achieving. He has 15 reception yards away from the season record, or the franchise record for most receiving yards by a Ravens pass catcher. He is 11 receptions away from their receptions record, 231 yards away from the tight end record for most receiving yards. I don't think most people would have realized that. This guy's having a historically great season. He's 24 receptions away. He's not going to get this one, or unlikely to, for the record for most receptions by a tight end in NFL history. So yeah, Mark Andrews is having a historically great season. The guy has been phenomenal. Also, with Tyler Huntley starting, he loves Mark Andrews. Some of his biggest games have come with Huntley under center. So Tyler Huntley loves Mark Andrews. Prop Stars loves Mark Andrews this week. So, yeah, I've been waiting for his props. If anyone wants to drop in the chat if his yards are out, I might make this an official play. And what are they, Coach?
They are 66.5. Apparently at minus 115 on DraftKings. And then on FanDuel, you can bet 60 plus at minus 125.
Oh, that's interesting. The 60 plus at minus 125 seems like a no-brainer. 66 is pretty big. His receptions line 5.5. But yeah, I like all these overs. I'm playing them all privately. I will think about if I'm going to make an official play and get back to you guys by the end of the show on that one, though.
All right, so let me ask you this. You're playing the overs on the Ravens side, but on the Rams side, it's very, very interesting because we saw what Joe Burrow did last week, north of 500 yards against this very same secondary. But if the Rams get up, then Sony Michel over 70.5 receiving or rushing yards seems like a decent play, but I will lend it to you.
Yeah, it is a decent play. Absolutely, Coach. Sony Michel has an absolute stranglehold on this backfield. Sean McVay is choosing to not take Sony Michel off the field. It has paid off dividends. We've seen him have some monster games as a result as well. So, yeah, I absolutely like Sony Michel quite a bit this week. The Ravens are still somewhat stout up front, even despite all the injuries. They're going to be attacked more through the air, in my opinion. So a couple props I do like those. I like Odell Beckham quite a bit this week. Just real quickly to touch on it is Odell is the second option in the passing attack. He does not require a bump in production to go over his receiving yards line at 50 yards. Against this secondary, the Ravens have given up more 15-yard completions than any defense in the NFL, and now their secondary is completely depleted. Of their 11 starters coming into, or 11 defensive backs coming into the season, only one still remains. So yeah, I actually think Odell Beckham is going to have a big game potentially. Really like his receiving prop.
All right, AB.
Yep. So I'll tell you what, I'm glad that Prop said that because Jeweler, go ahead and put it on the board. Official play for me, Odell Beckham, longest reception, over 20.5 yards. He's exactly right. You look at this Ravens secondary, this defense this season, last in passing yards per game, last in net yards per attempt at 7.8, last at 20-plus yard receptions. They've given up 68 of them, 68 over 20 yards or more, and they are the second worst team in the NFL in terms of getting an interception. Absolutely. Give me Odell Beckham, longest reception, over 20.5 yards.
And you got the double thumbs up from Prop Stars, which is always nice. Let's finish up this game. Coming back to you, Alex, because this is a number, or these are two numbers that we talk about every single week, and every single week he goes north of them, and that is Cooper Kupp. 8.5 is the catch total, and 118 yards is his yardage total. Can we play either one?
Honestly, they're plays, or I'm not even considering the under any circumstance. That is a huge total. The line did open, I believe, around 105, so it has moved up quite a bit. I would still consider the over even at that. Cooper Kupp is on pace for shattering pretty much every single receiver record in NFL history, or single season record. So this is a big deal to him. This is a big deal to the Rams. This is a big deal to Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. Obviously, I heard Odell Beckham even talking about it. If you got Odell Beckham talking about another player's production, another receiver, you know it is on their minds, and you cannot ask for a better matchup. We saw T. Higgins go thermonuclear versus this Baltimore secondary last week. So, yeah, this pretty much checks every box that I'm looking for. So, yeah, give me Cooper Kupp, give me Odell Beckham. I think both have monster games.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, speaking of on pace, I'm going to have to pick up the pace because we still have 9 games to get to, and we have less than about 25 minutes to do it in. So let's kind of do a little rapid fire here, boys. Falcons and the Bills, and this is 14.5, total 46. AB, I'll come to you on the side because this feels like to me a game that Buffalo comes out, scores 24 quick, and then sits on it and covers. Do you like that game script?
100% agree. I think that you might even see a little bit of not a hangover, but them taking the second half kind of off after that New England win. Yeah, I agree with you. It would be Buffalo or nothing. There's nothing I can trust with Atlanta. Nothing.
And we do have two props from our prop show in this game. First, Uncle Dave, he's on Devin Singletary, over 73.5 total yards, the combo, rushing and receiving, minus 110. Alex, what do you have?
Yeah, I just want to point out very briefly, too, I almost made that Singletary play a play of mine, so I absolutely like that prop quite a bit. I was hoping that Zach Moss would be inactive. He is going to be active, but I do still expect that prop to cash and Singletary to have a big game. I like Stephon Diggs a lot. I will touch on this very briefly. Over 66.5 receiving yards. His numbers move. I gave this out on our Twitter Spaces prop show. He's averaging 73 receiving yards per game. He's cleared this in 8 of 15 games. He has a 1.93 yards per route run, which is very good. The Falcons are giving up the fourth most production to opposing number one wide receivers this season, 27th in EPA allowed per dropback, 32nd in pass rush grade, 24th in coverage grade. This is a great matchup for Diggs to go off, in my opinion. He's been targeted on 24% of his routes with an 11.9 ADOT. That is an elite target profile. I think Allen is going to get him the ball, and he is going to feast. Doesn't need a bump in targets to do it. Very low number, very obtainable. Stephon Diggs, over 66.5 receiving yards. I'd play it up to 70.5.
Boom. And that was going to be my next question. All right, moving on. Jags and the Patriots. We aren't invested, and I don't even know if we need to talk about this game. This number is 17, 41.5. It screams yuck to me. It feels like a game, AB, that New England's going to come in, try to get Mac Jones right, and get out. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it is. It's also a game to where Bill Belichick, when he bounces off of a tough loss, he usually beats the hell out of somebody the next week. And especially with a rookie quarterback, their numbers are horrific against New England. It's going to be a lot of New England scoring, not much Jacksonville. Look for turnovers in this game. New England's going to have their way. It's going to be a bad matchup for Jacksonville today.
All right, and these are two teams that we don't even want to touch the props, right, Alex? That's a
big if anything, you're fading, guys. I 100% agree with AB. I gave out Trevor Lawrence's under passing yards in my Slack. It's since moved a lot, but yeah, you don't want no overs in consideration on Jacksonville's side, and I couldn't agree more. I think everybody on Jacksonville is going to struggle mightily, especially Trevor Lawrence.
But this next game, we might be playing some over, because last week, M Squared very nicely pointed out that Antonio Brown has a lot of incentives in his contract, as you would expect, and that Tom Brady historically has liked to help his teammates get to those numbers. So what happened last week? 10 catches, 101 yards for AB. So Bucks on the road this week, laying 14. It's a big number. Normally, the Jets stink. Total is 47.5. As a show, here's where we stand. Maestro gave out Ronald Jones over 70.5 rushing yards, minus 113. And then, Alex, I'll come to you. What do you like? Yeah,
real quick, I love that play from Maestro. I had that in my column as well. Has the prop star seal of approval. I have a prop from this game. It's Antonio Brown anytime touchdown. I have not given out an anytime touchdown prop this season, but this is one that I love. Mike hit the nail on the head with the incentives. What we saw last week was crazy. With the Buccaneers getting the ball back with 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter with a 44-27 lead, rather than running out the clock, Brady tossed a screen pass to Antonio Brown on first down, then a pass to him on second down, and then a pass to him on third down to give Brown his 11th reception of the game, and most importantly, his 45th on the season to cash a incentive. So yeah, he is one touchdown away from $333,000, 3 touchdowns away from an additional $333,000. Last week, Coach and AB, he had a 50% target share and a 53% air yard share. I've never seen that. That is an unprecedented target share. I think the first time in NFL history someone has received that many targets and that ratio. This Jets defense is absolutely terrible. They rank 31st in EPA allowed per dropback, 29th in EPA allowed per rush. Mike Evans is going to be limited. This is going to leave AB, the other AB, in line for a massive target share. Jets are 32nd in passing DVOA. He's going to have a huge game, get all the targets. As long as his ankle holds up, I think he has a great chance to score a touchdown in this game.
I love it. AB, quickly, what do you got?
Yep. So I'll say this: AB study other AB's film, and I'll tell you where Antonio Brown has success are out routes 4 of his 10 receptions last week. 8 of his 27 routes are out routes. And guess what? The New York Jets, they give up the 5th most yards in the NFL on out routes. You are going to see Antonio Brown up, over, bam, touchdown. He's going to crush today. Absolutely.
All right. And Big Daddy in the chat said I would lean the under 47.5. Don't be so sure. Buccaneers can score in the last 2 weeks. The Jets have been north of 20 points themselves. So I'm actually leaning towards the over in this game, to be honest with you. All right, let's move on. And this is the first 4 o'clock. No, I got one more, 1 Eastern. I guess I just wanted to skip this one, to be quite honest with you. Giants and the Bears, minus 6.6. Interesting line there. Total 36.5. I've never seen a minus 6.6 before. But it's interesting. Might be minus 6.5, 6.5. As a show, we only have one play in here. Maestro's on David Montgomery over 22.5 receiving yards. Alex, do you like that play from the Maestro?
Yeah, I do. I prefer his rushing personally, but I do totally understand the logic of backing David Montgomery. I was hoping to get his rushing attempts line at 15.5. Unfortunately, it wasn't released before he went on air yet. So, yeah, outside of that, I like Saquon Barkley a little bit, but staying away from most of the props in this game, going to be ugly.
And we had the Bears, and we talked about it on the Mega Preview earlier this week, that the Bears are a perfect choice if you want to put them into a teaser. Because if you tease them down, all they can do is win the game because they're going to get minus half a point. So I love the Bears today in a teaser position, and that way all they have to do is win the game over the lowly Giants. Ugh. All right, let's move on to 4 o'clock games now. Broncos, Chargers. Now, the Chargers are a team that we also, as a show, have them as a perfect candidate for a teaser. Because, AB, what does M Squared always teach us? You got to get the number below what? 3 and 7. And this would take it down to 2 if we play the Chargers in the teaser. Do you like that?
Oh, I love it. And I'll tell you exactly why. Justin Herbert, he is going to face a ton of pressure for the Denver Broncos defense. They're surprisingly one of the best defenses in the NFL at getting pressure on the quarterback. And Justin Herbert eats that alive, son. Like, he loves pressure on him because it leaves your secondary on an island, baby. And he is going to be feeding that all day long. I love that. I love the Chargers with the spread, to be completely honest with you.
Interesting. Alex, any thoughts from a prop perspective in this game based off of the way the Chargers have been playing? They've been awful. They're playing themselves out of the playoffs, and the Broncos defense or offense stinks. So is there anything we like here?
Yeah, there's a lot of injuries as well. Jerry Jeudy on injured reserve. Cortland Sutton questionable coming into the game. Drew Lock is going to struggle mightily. We did see very large lines for Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. We all know I loved some Javonte Williams. But, yeah, coming in with a 60-plus rushing yards, I thought that was too high. I also thought Melvin Gordon's line was too high as well. The Chargers are a run funnel. Everybody says, they're the worst rushing defense in the league, but that has not been the case over the past month. They have turned the defense around. They've been respectable versus the run, coupled with the fact that Denver's going to get up in this game. I don't know how long the Broncos can frankly run when they're down 2 scores. So, yeah, I actually don't mind fading my guy Javonte Williams or Melvin Gordon this week. And as far as Chargers are concerned, I do expect Keenan Allen to get a healthy, heavy dose of targets from Justin Herbert.
Fade Javonte, fade Melvin. Damn it, I'm going to do that. We still got time because that's a 4 o'clock game, so you can relax on getting to your book on that one. All right, we got to keep it moving, and I love this hour so very, very much. I feel like it's the first time this year, AB, that we can look at a week and say, you know what? I kind of think I know what happens in this next game is exactly what I'm talking about. It's way too many points for the Texans. 49ers minus 13. You got a quarterback who's injured. Total is 44 as a show. We're on the Texans plus 12.5, courtesy of RJ White from the Mega Preview. What do you like on the side here?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that whatsoever. Also, if you're looking at props for this, we talk about it every single week. Davis Mills, the Texans quarterback, he is a completions machine because all of his passes are 5 yards and in, right? Now, he's going to get a lot of pressure from San Francisco's defensive line. However, he is a completions machine. So, yeah, agree with RJ there on the spread. And if you're looking at any type of props, Davis Mills might be your guy.
A lot of people haven't been paying attention to the Texans the last couple of weeks because they've been out of it for so long. Davis Mills is a really good quarterback. He's playing better every single week and throwing for a lot of yards. Prop Stars, you have a best bet in this game. What is it?
Yeah, I do. It's Brandon Ayuk under 36.5 receiving yards. This guy has been phased out of the offense. 7 targets combined over his last 2 games. We've got Trey Lance also starting at quarterback for San Francisco. Could be a lot less passing volume, coupled with the 49ers being heavy favorites. Conventional wisdom would be they are going to run the football a ton. They have a minus 6% pass rate over expected. Only the Titans are more tilted towards the run than this 49ers team. Teams are shifting 3% to the run against Texans as well, and the 49ers could be the most run-heavy team this week, in my opinion. Furthermore, Deebo Samuel has a 3.01 yards per route run. George Kittle, 2.61, and then we've got Brandon Ayuk all the way down at 1.44. He has not been very good. He has the deepest ADOT of the big 3 receivers as well, which means that, I just don't think the volume is going to be there. We also have a healthy Eli Mitchell and Jeff Wilson at running back for San Francisco. So, I'm expecting a ton of rushing, and when they do throw the ball with Trey Lance, it's going to be concentrated to George Kittle and Deebo Samuel.
You're damn right. Apparently, Deebo had a baby this week. Do we see a anytime touchdown for his son? And then tying the football and go, son, this is for you. I love you, son. I can see Deebo. Doing that. All right, next game. Still several games to get to, and thank you so much for all your activity. But let's continue to pound that like button. I just got a text from the bosses. And if we get to 500 likes in the next 15 minutes, because there's plenty of people watching, 500 likes, I will drop a one-time year-long membership free code into the chat. First come, first serve. Next game, this is a big one, a big late one, boys. Cardinals and the Cowboys. There is a double SportsLine showdown between me and M Squared. The big boys going head-to-head today. I have the Cowboys. M Squared has the Cardinals, total 52. As a show, obviously Mikey is on the Cardinals. Maestro is on the Cowboys when it was 5.5. AB, which one do you like?
Spread-wise, probably go Cardinals. I think it's going to be a tight game. The Cardinals, it's an absolute must-win. Absolute must-win. They're going to have to do everything that they can. But the problem is this. Dallas is really good, and they cross turnovers like crazy, and this team is playing for each other. I have no play on it. I would lean Arizona, but it's not strong at all in terms of the spread. If Dallas blows them out, it wouldn't surprise me at all. This is a tough game. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Cowboys are going to roll today, to be honest with you. But Uncle Dave has a prop. Christian Kirk over 55.5 receiving yards for the Arizona Cardinals. And Alex, earlier today on Twitter Spaces, we talked extensively about the Kyler Murray prop in this game. And you kind of like it based off of what we've seen the last few weeks from him, yes?
Quite a bit, Coach. Yeah, he has been a lot more effective running the ball recently. Also, I don't typically play quarterback rushing props. I look for a bunch of kind of boxes to check when I do, and this game has pretty much the formula. The Cowboys have an elite secondary. They are exceptional defending the pass. They also have an above average or very good pass rush. That combined, in my opinion, is going to make things very difficult for Kyler, where he is going to have to rely on his legs because his receivers are going to be covered down the field. He's going to need to generate rushing yards to sustain drives, in my opinion. At the number set at 30, I feel like it has a ton of value there. So, yeah, I made this an article, my SportsLine column. This was my favorite or my article play. So, yeah, I really like Kyler Murray's quarterback rushing prop. I'd play it up to probably 33.5 yards.
And
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to jump in. I was literally going to talk about the exact same thing in regards to Kyler. I'm going to put 2 official plays in here right now. Give me the over on his rushing yards. Also, give me the over on his longest rush at 14.5 yards. Give me both of those.
Okay.
For everything Prop Stars just laid out.
I love it when AB and I are aligned.
Yeah.
I don't. All right. Very good. Now, I'm looking at my rundown, and I've got 3 games left. By the way, chat question from Adriana. Hurts over 53.5 or Schultz 45.5? What tight end gets the over, Alex?
Sorry, which was the other two? Dalton Schultz and who?
Ertz over 53.5.
Oh, Ertz. Sorry, I thought you said Ertz.
Yeah.
So which one gets the over? I'd probably lean Dalton Schultz, but I actually like the unders on both of the tight ends. Actually, I'll go Zach Ertz. I think the volume is going to be there for Zach Ertz. Schultz has been a lot more efficient, though. It's a toss-up.
I know, but you told us last week
nerves.
that Schultz has, and it was perfect in that game. He normally catches like 7 to 10 yard routes, so it takes him 4 or 5 catches.
But
Ertz,
Zach Ertz is cooked right now as well. I mean, he's getting monster workloads, but that guy cannot separate whatsoever. And the Cowboys are an elite coverage unit as well. So there are a lot of things I like, I don't like. I actually probably lean Schultz. I'm sorry. I know I seesaw back and forth there. I'd probably lean Schultz on it.
That's okay. George Kittle, AB, he lives in Nashville. His number is 54.5 for the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, especially with Trey Lance. If you got a young quarterback back there, he's absolutely going to use one of the best tight ends in the league. Yep, love that.
All right, very good. Oh. All right, 3 games to get to and not a whole lot of time. So, Lions and the Seahawks. And on the surface, this looks like, you play Seattle minus 8.5, total 41. The Lions are terrific this season against the spread, and they're getting more than a touchdown here. We do not have an official play on this game. But, AB, much like the Texans game, this number feels way too high based off of how Seattle is playing.
Yeah, it feels way too high. I'll say this, though. If you're looking at props, the Seahawks, surprisingly enough, they lead the league in 25-plus yard plays this season. They have 49 of them, okay? Detroit, they give up the second most plays, big plays, their defense. So if you're looking at some props, there will be some big plays from Seattle. I agree with you, 8.5. That's an ugly number. Don't want anything to do with fading Detroit with that one. But Seattle will bust some big plays today, and it's generally Tyler Lockett that's doing it. Look at DK as well. They've made an effort the last 2 weeks to try and get him the ball specifically last week. But, yeah, they'll bust some big ones.
Alex.
Only one. This is an AB Chick-fil-A nugget of the day. Only one team has allowed 1,000-plus receiving yards to opposing running backs. That is Seattle. They are the absolute worst defense when it comes to defending receiving running backs. What does Detroit have? They have DeAndre Swift, who is an absolutely exceptional receiving running back. His receiving yards opened under 30 yards. It was opened at around 23.5. It has since moved up to, I believe, 27 or 29, but that is something you want to take a very close look at. Something I like quite a bit is DeAndre Swift's receiving yards. I'd play it probably up to 30.5 yards.
All right, very good. Oscar in the chat says Arizona and Detroit are teaser candidates. I would say Detroit is, Oscar, but be very careful with Arizona because Dallas showed last week that if they start moving and they start going, it can be a downhill slide. They scored 56 against Washington last week, so be very careful. I don't think Seattle can blow out anybody, but I do think Dallas could blow out somebody. Just my own little nuggets of the day. All right, 2 games left, and this one, Panthers Saints. Now, Saints look like a college. No, they look like a high school team last week against Miami. Couldn't believe we even bet even a nickel on the Saints with Ian Book at quarterback. I will never do that again. But the Saints get a bunch of guys back this week from COVID. So that makes a huge difference. The number 6.5 against Carolina. Panthers are out of it. Total 37. Cam Newton can't even throw the ball anymore. As a show, we have one official play. Alvin Kamara under 27.5 receiving yards. Alex, is there anything else in this game that we can play?
Yeah, there isn't quite not many props that I personally like. The ones that did come out, they kind of corrected quickly. I was looking at some Chuba Hubbard unders versus this incredibly stout Saints rushing defense. Those numbers have corrected significantly since they were released. So, yeah, not much to like as far as the props go. I do expect this to be an ugly, low-scoring game. So, yeah, it's some unders that you may have that you may like as far as some of the skill position players on the Saints are concerned. I think Kamara's play is a good one from Dave, but, yeah, not much that I like.
I don't like much in this game either. But if you have to look at something, motivation is a key. And the Saints are not technically out of the playoff race yet. So that, to me, is enough motivation with a quarterback that I have a little bit of confidence in. You?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that they're the better team. I'll say this. I've got a nugget for you in this ugly of a game.
Oh, let's go.
I'll give it to you right here. The Saints have scored a league-low 6 points on their first drives in a game this season. It's been hideous. The Carolina Panthers have allowed a league-low 6 points on opponents' first drives in a game this season. So if you're looking for something fun, Saints first drive, punt. Other than that, yeah, I agree.
All right, I'm going to punt on that whole damn game probably. All right, last game today, and this is probably the one that has the most uncertainty. As a show, we are not invested in this game. The number is 13. Why? Because Kirk will not cook tonight. You like that, Alex? You like that? You like that? Because he is out with COVID. He tested positive. I have no sympathy for players who are testing positive for COVID right now. That means your team is not handling their business. I have no sympathy. And so the Vikings are playing without their quarterback against the number 1 seed currently in the NFC, the Packers. The total is sitting on 42. Let's talk sides with UAB and then wrap it up with anything props related with Alex. AB, go.
Yep. So you look at Green Bay. Look, they're a phenomenal team. They're going to win this game. The problem being covering a number this big, the same thing they did against the Browns. Aaron Rodgers' toe, it's not 100%. They will take the foot off the gas pedal. Be careful with that in the second half. Packers will win this game, but I would be careful with that spread, man.
Alex, this feels like what I said earlier, that the Packers would come out, score quickly, and then we know that they have the slowest pace in the entire league and that they snap the ball almost every single time with less than 5 seconds on the play clock. Are you very hesitant today in this game?
Yeah, no, that's a phenomenal point, Coach. I agree with everything AB said as well. Yeah, they play slow. This Minnesota team with Sean Mannion at quarterback is not going to be able to put up a fight or be competitive, in my opinion. But that being said, AB, I think, touched on this. The Green Bay, despite how great they are, every single game is relatively close, or at least the final score is, for a lot of those reasons you laid out, because of how slow they play, because the second half, they just completely take their foot off the gas. So, yeah, I do anticipate them getting up big early and then leaning heavily on A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Those are the only two props that I am personally looking at as far as Green Bay's offensive players are concerned. I think there is a little bit of value with both those guys. Prefer A.J. Dillon tonight, actually.
All right, we will dive in really deep to the prop market on our 720 episode of the Early Edge Live tonight. We go for 45 minutes or 50 minutes and break down everything that is Sunday Night Football, and that is this game. So the game starts in 4 minutes. So what I want to do, throw up the recap. There you go. Thank you, Jeweler. And then quickly, guys, tell me what you're most looking forward to today. Everybody at home, take a screenshot, get your last bets in. Remember the late games, you could wait a little bit. But AB, what are you most looking forward to today?
Yeah, the final chicken nugget in the box here is this. The Houston Texans have scored a touchdown on 3 straight opening drives the last 3 weeks. Let's see if they can make it far.
Very interesting. Alex, bring us home.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see all these guys with all the various incentives that want to get paid. I want to see Antonio Brown for obvious reasons. I can't wait to see Cooper Kupp chase history. Same goes for Jonathan Taylor. So I am very much looking forward to watching all these props and all these individual players chasing history.
We could not have started this year off any better. I am looking forward to this entire year. We are a year into the Early Edge brand, and we are committed to making this brand the biggest in sports betting in the entire world. That's what we're committed to doing, but we can't do it without each and every one of you at home. So thank you all for 2021, and damn it, let's get locked and loaded for 2022 because we're expanding, and when I can tell you what we have in store for each and every one of you at home, it's going to blow your minds. And when I can, I will. But in the meantime, there's only one thing left to do, and you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, Prop Stars, AB, and the jeweler who puts it all together here at the brand. I am the coach. We'll see you tonight, 7:20 Eastern time, right here on the Early Edge. Good luck.